And we're live.
All right.
All right.
Here we go.
So, welcome to Band of Bards Comic Chat. I'm Tim, here with Kylar Merrell of Foreign Press Comics. So,
Hi. How you
thanks
doing?
for coming on.
Yeah, thank you for having me, I guess. Like I said, it's just weird being on the other side of it. I don't know.
Yeah, reserve judgment on being thankful for coming on. All
Will
right.
do.
All right. And as usual, we're just going to kill a couple minutes here as people tune in. And I get all the final things set up here so I can kind of monitor the Twitch feed too at the same time. Yeah, super exciting. So, like you said, you had a rough week a little bit, huh?
Yeah, like I said, I started off on Monday we had off, and then Tuesday I woke up and like it was the weirdest thing. Like I got ready for work. Like I leave the house about 7:15, 7:20, and like right at 7:15, I was ready to go. I had to be there a little early anyway, and then like all of a sudden my stomach was just like we're not doing it.
Ooh.
And then yeah, so then I was like went to the bathroom and I was like I'll be fine. Then I was like no, I'm not gonna be fine. So it was probably I don't know. I was in there for a little bit. I assigned my kids work from the toilet, so I'll just leave it at
Oh
that. But
man.
yeah, I had enough time to like run in and grab my laptop, call my principal, be like, hey, I'm not gonna make it, and then just assign stuff in the from the bathroom. But I got it done, but then after that I felt fine, and then yeah.
Man, I can only imagine. I bet all my teachers wish they could have been able to do that.
I really don't like to do it, honestly. I just feel really bad. But that was like one of the times where I've been like, I got to do it. I got to do it. I had actually like never filled out like the absent form until just now, today or that day, and so it was like I was like, how do I do this? But I'm sorry I was looking at my phone. I was pulling up the Twitch stream. I just wanted to see. I don't know why.
It's weird. You want to see yourself, and then like you get to see the little bit of a delay that it has,
Yeah, that's what
and
I'm
it,
seeing.
it
Like,
really freaks you out.
yeah.
Oh,
Oh, I'm gonna
very
have too
cool.
much fun with that. I need to get off that.
So, in case anybody out there is unfamiliar, I'm gonna throw up the link for Foreign Press Comics. And we'll just kind of start off by you want to
Yep.
explain who you are as a publisher and how you got started.
Yeah. I guess Foreign Press Comics kind of started about 2017. I was in college. It was my second year of college, the spring of my sophomore year, and I was living in Louisiana by myself. I was really going through a lot of like mental health stuff, depression, stuff like that, and I was just like, I'd always wanted to make comics, and so I decided, okay, I'm gonna do it. I'm just gonna make comics. And then so I was like, okay, I need a website. I don't want to just call it, kylarmerrill.com.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't know. I was trying to think of publisher names like Eclipse and Sunstone. I don't know. There were different names that went through my head, and then one of my friends was like Foreign Press. So honestly, Foreign Press doesn't really have a meaning. It's just like told it to me. I needed a title, and I was like, hey, that sounds good. And then I did it for my Instagram. I did it for everything else, but yeah. And so now I'm trying to branch out this year into being more of an actual publisher and not just a brand for my books, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
But
definitely. So that's kind of neat though. You start off more as just a
mhm.
self-publishing as your
Yep.
goal, and you want to take on a little bit larger of a scope.
Yeah, I mean, and I started off with, I mean, I did the same thing most comics people do, where I started off with too large of a scope. I was like, oh, I'm going to build this whole universe, and I still think I had a pretty good concept, like, and then I was just telling like 6 or 7 page comics, and each one was just about a different character, but they were all set in the same universe, and there were little mentions and details that were the same, and like they were all part of the same super team and everything like that. And I still think that was a viable way to do it. But yeah, I had like probably 9 or 10 little short comics setting that universe up, and then I don't know when, I don't know, probably 2019, I guess, is when I really started, because I did my COVID anthology
Mm-hmm.
in like April, or it came out in May, and it's just I looked at it the other day, I reread it, and it's just really weird because like I wrote it with this like attitude of like, oh, it'll be over in like 2 months, we'll be fine. We just need some positivity, and then now it's like 2022, and I'm like, Jesus Christ. But yeah, I did that, and then I just did my first whole comic was Terminal. I did that in 2019. No, yeah, 2019 as well. No, 2020. I don't remember. And then yeah, I've had
Those
other
years
stuff.
are all blending together.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
I just try to think of it in terms of like, because like I'm just barely enough out of college that I can like think of like, okay, that's I think I was still in college at that time, and so like, but it's already still running together, and I'm just like, I'm losing it.
All right. That's pretty cool. I mean, like, that's quite a bit to try to take on
Hmm.
immediately, like, while still in college, and then as you initially
Hmm.
graduate. And I mean, you're trying to also like establish what you're gonna do as an adult at that
Hmm.
point.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's hard enough as it is.
Hmm. For sure. It's just, I mean, it was just a lot to, and kind of mentioned I've started trying to take on more responsibility, and it's become less of a just hey, look what I'm doing for fun, and more of like
Hmm.
and I'm actually trying something. So it's a little bit different than like how I started, and I think because of that I've kind of gone through like ups and downs in terms of like how excited I am about it. Just in terms, sometimes it's just like, oh, it's work. I have to go do these pages now. I have to
Yeah.
go message this person. And so, but it is good because I am doing something that I do like. I just have those days, where I think everybody has in any job. You just like
Yeah.
it's just I don't want to do this today. But
Yeah. You definitely run into that. Like, comics are fun, but
hmm.
they're like everything's got its tedium. Everything has some parts to it that like you just hate having to deal with.
Yeah. Hmm.
And I guess the good thing is with comics, you probably have a lot less of that than with other jobs,
Hmm.
but you still have it.
Yeah. Like I said, it's I think like I said, I think it's just it's something. I mean, it's probably just like burnout. Everybody who does anything creative, I think, gets
Mm,
burnout, and so like mine will just happen because for like I'm doing art on a book now, and I'm still inking it, and I'm just like when I've inked like like last weekend I inked 3 or 4 pages, and I was like, okay, I'm doing great, and now I looked at it today, and I still have like 7 pages left, and I'm just like, or like I don't know, I'm just how am I not done? And so it's just every once in a while it just hits me, and I'm just like, why? I want to finish, I want to be done with this, I'm tired of it, I hate it, and then I'm like, okay, no, I'm good, but you know, it is
yeah,
what it is.
absolutely. Um, you've just started kind of getting into lettering too, right?
Yeah. I've always lettered like all my stuff that I've done, but like I said, it's all been like just short comics and little things. Also in there, I have another comic that that's never seen the light of day. It's called Archangel, and it's really garbage, honestly. I read it. I was looked at it recently because I have like all the inks and pencils and everything in my filing cabinet, and I was looking through it, and it's bad. The lettering's bad. Like I've learned just in the past probably I don't know 5 or 6 months. I've learned a lot about lettering. Just there's so many things that I'm like, oh, and now I'm doing them in my work, and I'm noticing that's why it looks better. That's why, and it's making so much more sense now. But yeah, I lettered all my comics, but like I said, the last 5 or 6 months, I've really been trying to work on how to actually letter and like
Okay.
learning how to do it better. And I've been working with like I don't know if you're familiar with the Comic Jam.
I'm not sure.
It's this group online. It's a Discord, but they publish comics every week, and it's just one page comics, and
Mm-hmm.
so they just randomly pair up writers and artists, and it's on it. They vote on a weekly theme, and you don't have to participate. It's just like, hey, I have time this week. Let me draw this story. I don't have time. I
Yeah.
can't do anything for a while, and so I did. That's how I kind of got into comics, was working on little one pagers like that for them, and then now I'm kind of getting back into it, just being like, hey, let me letter. Also, it lets me have something for my portfolio that I can add.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just my own work, but
Yeah.
yeah. So I've just been working on it and trying to learn as much as I can, because it's one of those things that you can tell the difference in a book based on like the lettering. Like the lettering makes a big difference, and so
Absolutely. Letterers get overshadowed or just
mhm.
not thought about a lot of times.
Yeah.
But, when you get some poor quality lettering, it really stands out and it
Yep.
distracts from everything else. So, you know, letterers are a really important part
Hmm.
of the team there. And, you know, they deserve their just as much as respect
For sure.
as anybody else on that team.
Yeah.
So
There's just a lot of aspects that go into it, and it's just.
like, there's a lot of there's a lot of technical aspects
Mm-hmm.
to lettering that a lot of people probably don't like think of initially just from looking at it, but just
Yeah.
you know how what kind of space on the page did the artist leave you to play with for your word bubbles? Did they leave you enough? Did they cram the page so that no matter what you're going to cover up something and take away from their art by putting in the word bubbles and thought bubbles, and
Yeah.
how many words per bubble can you fit in and everything like that until it starts to be just obtuse, and it's neat when you start to learn a little bit more about the technical aspects, and I
Yeah.
can't do any of that stuff myself. Like I can learn it enough from a technical standpoint where I understand the work that has to go in, but I'm just not artistically talented at all.
I mean, I'm still using the same copy of Photoshop that I torrented in like 2017. So, I can't like I don't have like the best stuff in the world, and a lot of the things are like using Illustrator and other things I don't have. But I mean, just like I said, little like you talked about all these little details, like just the little like the width of a bubble should be the same width of the lines under art,
Yeah.
and like this I learned this one recently, like all your tails should have the same width, like where they connect to the balloon, and like all those things that now I'm like, oh, I'm noticing that, and all the
Yeah.
things where I like them, and yeah.
Ryan's got a good question here.
Yeah.
Favorite comic book logo?
I don't know. I'm not really a big logo guy. Like that's the one part of lettering that I'm not really good at. Like I had a guy just recently. I did my first logo design for him, and I wasn't super. I was fine with it, but I wasn't super happy about it. But yeah, I'm looking up logos.
I know. Looking up my stack right here. How can I cheat on this question?
I really like. I'm gonna be honest. The new Moon Knight logo. It's sitting on my desk, so it might not count. But I don't know. I just like the
That's nice.
there it is, the wrong
That's
way.
really
Yeah, I like
cool.
the moon coming
The
through it.
strike through. That's I don't know a whole lot about Midnight, but like that's supposed to be like almost like the little weapon he's got, isn't it?
I guess so. I don't know if it's supposed to be. It's weird. I just noticed it's a sun, so I don't know. I don't know, but yeah, I mean, he's got all the moon crescent shaped stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm into that.
I bring up all the time. It's the classic logo.
Yeah,
And it
Yeah.
really hasn't changed a whole lot over the years at all.
yeah.
Hard to beat Spawn. I mean, that one's been around for so long. Gosh.
I don't see anything else.
I bring up the Transformers all the time. And it's funny, though, because, like, the logo for Transformers, though, it's very basic, right?
Yeah,
And it's funny, but honestly, when you've got all the other art going on like a Transformers cover, and all the other visual candy that you get with that, why? That's almost a point where if you have too good of a logo to go with it, you would detract from everything else.
yeah.
So
Well, that's what I just noticed on my shelf. I looked at Watchmen, and Watchmen's logo is pretty basic. It's black with yellow text, and like, but I mean, I feel like probably because it's Alan Moore, there's like some symbolism behind why he did that on purpose. But yeah, I don't know. I feel that's a really basic logo for a really complex book. So another one,
Ryan's favorite is Daredevil.
Daredevil. I don't know that one. Daredevil by Chris Samney. Somney.
That's another, the street level Marvel characters. I've never gotten into a whole lot of them. Especially, that probably plays into a little bit of my biases because Matt Murdock is a dorky lawyer, and he's super Catholic. So I probably a couple of things I'm just like, I had enough Catholic school. I don't need another to read a comic that has a whole bunch of like Catholic symbolism in it and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Like just
I was never.
show me Frank Castle beating him up. I'll watch that.
Yeah. Let's watch that guy get beat up. That's what I want to see. No, I never really got into them either. I mean, the closest I got was the Matt Fraction and Brubaker Immortal Iron Fist. I guess that's the closest that I would have gotten to that. So,
I am excited though for a lot of those characters to come into like the Disney Plus arena, and all those characters that had kind of not so like high production value
Yeah.
TV shows. What were they on, like the CW or something?
They were just on Netflix.
Really?
The Daredevil ones were, and honestly, I'm gonna be honest, I didn't mind the Iron Fist dude, but no, I think the really bad one was Inhumans. That's the one that was on
Mm,
ABC, and I watched like 2 episodes, and it was garbage.
yeah,
It was bad,
but
but
hopefully it all comes together nice
yeah.
and neat there as Disney is allowed to have all the full rights to Punisher again.
Hmm.
Because I think they had with that deal that they had with Netflix, they had to wait like 2 years
Yeah.
before they could like even just run the reruns and stuff again.
Hmm.
So we should be coming up on that expiration date, and
Yeah.
that might be a whole new gigantic blast of like street level
Yeah.
heroes.
The only thing that worries me about like Punisher and like even Daredevil to some extent is like it's on Disney Plus, and like Marvel's not gonna put too much violence on there, and not that violence makes it good,
Hmm.
but that's kind of like the Punisher. Like I feel like a lot of the Punisher, I don't know, it might have to be like really toned down for Disney Plus
Yeah.
because they're
Right.
doing a very big job of like keeping Disney Plus clean, and Hulu's kind of being their more
Hmm.
adultish thing. So
Yeah, it'll
be
be
something.
neat because I mean they're also gonna bring in Deadpool and stuff like that. So
Yeah, exactly. So
they got
there's
some
no telling
tone.
how that's gonna
They're
work.
gonna have to do something.
Yeah.
Disney After Dark.
Yeah. Well, that's what they have in like other countries, like internationally. They have Disney. It's called Star or whatever,
Yeah,
and that's
yeah.
like their adult version because they don't have Hulu internationally. So
Mm. That was a rabbit hole. Thanks for that one, Ryan. Um, oh, getting back to foreign press. Um, what would you say you were most proud of from this past year?
um, I don't know. I think kind of I'm in one of the things is like it's more of an internal thing. Like just proud of like how I started to, like I said, take things more seriously, and like I have a plan, and like I set out like I have a mission statement and a vision statement, all these things that a business is supposed to have that I didn't have because I was just winging it.
Mm-hmm.
But I have a plan. I know what I'm going to do. I know I have plans going out up to starting into 2024 now.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that I never would have had a couple years ago. But I mean, I am proud of like as far as books and stuff go, we didn't put out much. I did 2 issues of my webcomic Outlaw Country, which is going to come back later this year, and I'm planning to redo all the other pages because I want to put them as PDFs instead of individually online. And then the Fletcher Cross anthology was something that I was really proud of. I was really happy with, and it just didn't get funded.
Mm-hmm.
So it was disappointing, but I'm going to try it again. I don't know if it's going to be Kickstarter. That's a whole, I don't know.
Yeah.
That's stressing me out right now just
Yeah.
because they all have, I don't know. I tweeted about it earlier. I don't know if you saw it, but it's just Kickstarter's reach is still so much there. And I don't really know how much people are going to care about the blockchain thing in about, 3 or 4 months, like
Yeah,
how
I
much
mean, like
they influence.
how much effort they're gonna put into trying to just quiet down that whole conversation. If they're just going to
Hmm.
continue to ignore it and not really put out any more information
Yeah.
and hope that, the only people on their platform who really care that much are the comics
Hmm.
folks.
Yeah. And then
And
I actually talked to a friend of mine today about he had a Kickstarter and then he had a similar Indiegogo campaign. And I asked
mhm,
him, I was like, how did it go? Like, was it really that bad? And he's like, yeah, no, there's a huge stigma around it. And it's
yeah,
just, he's like the amount of backers, it went from like, I don't know, maybe 100 something on his Kickstarter to like 10 or so on his
wow,
Indiegogo. It was drastic, the difference,
yeah,
because there's still that whole thing with them. So,
yeah. You that platform attracted a certain
hmm.
crowd of assholes,
Hmm.
and you know that's just going to be attached to them.
Hmm. Yeah.
And people are going to make a line in the sand on that.
Hmm.
That's pretty firm.
And it's not even I was talking to someone else a couple of days ago, and they brought up a point that I hadn't really thought about. It's not even just the excuse me, the the whole hate group of it all. It's
Hmm.
like just also the fact that there's good people who, just who, because you get to keep all your money, all your funds,
Hmm.
they just kept it all and never put it out.
Right.
And so that's a whole other thing that I hadn't really thought about. But yeah, just it's one of those things where some bad apples ruined it for everybody else.
Yeah. Yeah. Like hey, cool. I got I didn't hit my funding goal, but I got 50% of it, which
Yeah.
isn't enough for me to actually fulfill anything. But I got your money, sucker.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I don't know. So, and there's things like Zoop, but and I like that, but it's just comics only right now, and so that's really limits the audience, and so
Yeah.
it's just a whole issue, and that's when that's why like we have our we haven't really announced it yet, but I think I showed you our Voyagers thing. Yeah, it's kind of hopefully it can be an alternative to crowdfunding in a way. I don't know. I'll see if it works. It's kind of like pre-orders but on steroids. So
Yeah.
we'll just I don't know if that's gonna. Like I said, I haven't announced much about that yet because I'm still finalizing a deal on like what book it's gonna be and who it's gonna be with. But yeah, so hopefully that'll help. But it's just
Yeah. That whole situation is, I think, putting a lot of self-publishers and like small presses back to like a point where you're just trying to figure out how to just start your own thing up again, and back to more of a DIY approach rather than having a good viable platform. But again, like the big sell, right, is that hey, our platform's got this giant community of people who just browse and might see your stuff, and you'll be exposed to a lot more people. And I am very suspect of that claim.
But I mean, haven't you seen? I mean, when you were running those or working on those Kickstarter campaigns, did you, at least on the ones that I've run, I've seen a lot of people, a lot of backers that come directly from Kickstarter. I assume that had some significance. That helped some. I don't know, but a decent amount of them came just from Kickstarter. So I mean, I think there's some validity to it, maybe. But like you're right though.
Yeah, and that's partly like how many people you connected with pre-launch and had that direct email go out to them to remind them, or the direct referrals from like the links that you shared on other social media and all that. And then how many just randos, more or less, like just saw you up in the listings of all the different comics, and for whatever reason clicked on it and decided to back you. Like if that's your big draw, that I'm going to tap into this larger audience that I'm not going to be able to otherwise, and that doesn't actually happen, are you really worth the 10% that I'm giving you? There's plenty of other platforms out there, and there's plenty of ways to replicate the same results. I don't know, it's depressing to see that, and
it is.
I think we just have to kind of sit and wait a little bit longer to see what actually is going to pan out with all that this year.
It's just hard to wait when I'm trying to plan stuff out, and I'm like, I gotta decide this now for the thing I'm gonna do in June, and there's no telling what's gonna happen between now and June that's gonna mess it all up. And I'm just like, I gotta make a decision and go for it, I guess, which isn't ideal, but I guess that's it.
So what's coming up there on the slate then for 2022?
Well, like I said, this year I'm really proud of what we did. We decided to go, or I say we. It's weird. I try to talk about Foreign Press like it's a company, like it's a big thing, when it's me, and like occasionally my girlfriend's like a business consultant is what I refer to her as. But so I say we, but it's me. It's like I planned out this year that we're gonna go quarterly because I wanted to do things manageably, but also push myself. And so we have in March, I'm going to have a book, Valkyrian, come out. It's almost completely done, and I'm really excited. It's kind of a semi-sequel. It doesn't have any of the same characters. It's just set in the same world as my previous comic, Terminal. And so I'm really excited about that. It's something that I've had in my head for a while and finally just decided to do it.
Cool.
And then in June, we're relaunching the Fletcher Cross anthology. Again, not sure where. I'm setting up the Kickstarter page, but we'll see. And then in the fall, or the third quarter, I don't know if that's technically fall, but that's when I have a book. I'm not gonna announce what that is yet because it's not set in stone. But I'm pretty sure. I was literally messaging him earlier. It's different than what I originally put on my schedule, and then in December, like I said, I'm bringing back Outlaw Country, and hopefully I'm gonna have all the previous issues revamped. But Yeah, and then I'm just doing the podcast, and so
Yeah.
that's a big thing. But I'm like I said, I'm planning stuff that's we're not going to really do much on until next year with people just around the community, and so it's just really fun to be making those kind of steps.
Yeah. That's pretty solid though. I mean, like you gotta push yourself, but you still
Hmm.
want to make it sure that you're not going so hard that you're going to like not be able to follow through on these
Exactly.
things.
Yeah.
Because for one thing, people will not like trash you for that, but it's more like demoralizing to yourself, right? Like I
Yeah.
set up, I wanted to do all these things, and you know this fell through for that reason, or I really overestimated my ability on this, and then you start to just beat yourself up instead of focusing on what you were able to accomplish.
Yeah.
So
And part of like what I did for myself is I'm with the outlaw country. It's a uh it's just digital only, so I don't have there's no cost involved in that. So that also gave myself a little cushion. It's like, okay, it's not like you're like putting out all these things, have to pay for all this stuff, because hopefully crowdfunding and stuff, but helping out of my own pocket. But that was like, okay, I just have this. It's just digital. All I have to do is do the art on it, letter it, and just do it on your own pace. It's January. You're not doing it till December. You got time. And so that was another big thing, is just financially that was a little weight off my shoulders.
which is huge, right?
Yeah.
Comics are not cheap to make.
Nope.
I mean, I think the casual person would go by and look at a little 24-page floppy and be like, oh, it's $4, $5 something to stand, and like how much could it take to make that? And it's like there's a lot. There's quite a lot of things that go into it. Gosh, and man, you really can go crazy on a budget when if you start having like half a dozen different variant covers and all sorts of different things.
Yeah.
So,
I'm just trying to keep it simple, stupid. I'm just trying to go just easy and not do too much on the variants and the prints and the stickers and all these different extra things that go along with it. I'm like I'm gonna have extra stuff, but I'm not gonna go crazy.
yeah,
'Cause that's just like, I can't do it.
that's the thing. You see some folks that will always have a ton of variant covers, and if you put to like an anthology together, that's one thing because you already have a lot of people involved. But if you have just a standard single issue comic, and you want to do all these different variants, like now you've just like doubled or tripled the amount of people that you're trying to coordinate the work on. So like the administrative project management side of it is blown up, and then the budget on it is crazy. Then Chris and I had that conversation early on in terms of like what we wanted to do, or if we wanted to have kind of like just a standard policy, or say in regards to variant covers. And we're like, let's not go crazy with them. Let's have at the most one variant cover for everything we put out, and we want to make sure that when we select a person to do a variant, that we're not just doing it for the sake of having the variant, but we're also being kind of intentional in like who we approach to do that. Because we want to involve somebody who's going to add some extra value aside from just having a nice fancy second cover. But and it should also be a little bit of a marketing thing, right? Like it should be enticing for someone to see, oh wow, I like that cover too, and I was going to get the normal one, but like maybe I'll get both of them. Like there is a marketing side to all that.
Yeah. I mean, usually with comics in like the store, I'm usually just a main cover person. I don't want variants, but on Kickstarters, that's when I will like get variants and stuff, because I'm like, yeah, shoot, I want that art. It's not like I'm trying to keep a collection of this series, so it's just like, screw it, let's do it. I'll buy your variants. I'll do whatever.
Yeah, I can't take the same approach. I'm not huge on collecting. I like to read.
Yeah.
When a friend's doing a Kickstarter and I want to maybe like give them a little bit extra support, I'm all about it. Let me grab a second copy of it, or one book that I can think of that I have bothered to buy like extras and different variants of in the store. That was Steph Phillips's run on Tarna.
Don't know.
No, Tarna the Terrakian. She it's a classic cover character from Heavy Metal magazine.
Okay.
Real like kind of cult popular cartoon movie, like animated movie in gosh, I want to say the 80s.
Looks very 80s.
Yeah, it's very cool. Very metal. And there are some different like not reboots of it, but every now and then you get some extra stories of
Hmm.
Alex DeCampi, if I'm saying her name right. She did a little bit of a run, like a mini series, and then just this past year, Steph Phillips, who she's handling like Harley Quinn right now,
Yep.
but she's had some fantastic comics of her own. A Man Among Ye, definitely. I always tell friends at Pulp 716, anything Steph is doing, just put it on my pull list. Don't wait for me. just know I want it.
Yeah.
So yeah, Man Among Ye is fantastic. Pirates, who doesn't love pirates?
Hmm.
Oh my god, I was just thinking of all of them earlier, and they're like all coming to my brain at the same time. Like I can see all the covers at once, and I
Yeah.
can't vocalize one single title.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of.
Yeah, The Devil Within was really good. And she just like in the last year or two, it hit like just a freaking
Mhm.
spree
Yeah.
of production. It was fantastic to watch because she's super sweet person.
Hmm.
Just a great person to get to chat talk with, talk comics or anything else. Really
Hmm.
loves hockey, so that's
Yeah.
cool.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm like fanboying a little bit here, but
You're good.
yeah, I love her work. But so like the Tarna run that she was doing, I was like, I'm gonna grab a few extra of
Mhm.
this because I want the extra covers.
Yeah. I can't think of it. That's what I was trying to think of. I can't think of any like main series that I got those covers on. I can't. Yeah, I can't think of any.
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah, like it's definitely something that like people either get into really hard
Hmm.
or just could not care less about.
Yeah.
So again, it's another one of those things when you're trying to put together your own comic, whether it's us as publishers or someone is doing their own project. Like, you really gotta sit there and think, like, it's great to be able to say I got all these variants and like I had this person do a cover for my book, but like, how much value are you adding to that? And
Yeah.
are you really just going to be blowing some of that money that
Hmm.
you know could have helped you pay for the fulfillment? And
Yeah.
a lot
I
of
mean that.
pitfalls.
Yeah. That's. I mean, and I. It's. I don't know if this is really related, but I just. That's something I kind of decided to do, and it hasn't. We haven't been able to like do it yet, but we're starting it with Valkyrian. Is my plan is to include a backup story, like a short
Hmm.
4 page or so in at least every one shot comic, just because it. And my thinking was it because it adds something to it. It's
Yeah.
not just something simple like a variant, but it's something. It's more story by another creator,
Hmm.
and getting to tell their story or whatever comic they have. And so yeah, so I have one in Valkyrian by Chris Hutton, and I don't remember the artist name because I haven't been Matthias something. But yeah, so I mean I'm planning to do that, but I think that's what I thought of, was to kind of
Yeah.
add something to it. But
Very cool. You did mention the podcast, and I got the link I'm gonna drop,
sweet.
which you were kind enough to have Chris and I on. Chris and me.
I don't know.
All right.
Whatever.
It always bugs me when I screw that up. Yeah. So you had Chris and me on, and was it last month? Gosh,
Yeah, it came
my
out on
brain
New
is
Year's Eve.
yeah, my brain's so rotten. Yeah, that was a blast. So it was very nice to be able to have you on. I kind of return the favor there, but
Appreciate it.
fantastic podcast, Comics Unscripted. Got the link there for the Anchor site. You've got tons of really cool guests.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna look at it now because I want to look at myself. No, I've had some really interesting conversations. I've met a
Yeah.
whole lot of people through it, and it's really exciting just to see like all the people and hear different people's opinions on things. But it's really weird, like looking at like the analytics as far as the episodes and stuff, because I have some that I think have been like really good episodes. I've been like, this is gonna blow, and then they don't. And then the ones that I don't, that I'm like, I don't know about that. They're the ones that are winning in the views, and I'm like, okay, well,
you probably didn't do yourself too many favors with having us on.
I don't know about that,
but looking through the guests though, I love it. You know, Matt Ligeti, who was on with us a couple weeks ago.
Yep,
that was a fantastic episode. Like, everybody loves watching Matt too. Everybody likes to tune in.
Yeah,
very very nice guest. Steve Urena, who's been on our show as well.
Tobin and Allaire.
Who I've said it before, but I avoid saying French words as much as possible. But Rosico,
I think.
Sorry, Tobin and Allaire. I live close enough to Canada. I should get better at French, but
I have no idea.
But yeah, Philip Mira.
Philip Myra.
The eye is screwing me up.
Yeah. That's what I make sure before every interview. I'm like, okay, how do I say your name? Let me double check. Like, ask
before we go live. Let me make sure I know how to say your name.
Do I know it? Yeah.
Doug Wood, Leslie Julian.
Yep.
Great
that
guys.
one was weird because I had 3 people on, and it was just like, it was a lot to manage. I was like, how do I handle having all these 3 people on at once? I don't know. But I met like Devin Arscott.
Yeah.
John Westhoff. Like I said, I've met a lot of people through it that I would not have met otherwise. They've been, I don't know, and like some of them I'm still talking to, like, that are helping me out with certain things, or I can go to for advice now, and it's like, it's really great. Like John had me on another panel, and Sierra Nova had an online convention, and he invited me. He had a space on there to talk, and so he invited me on, and so I went and talked with him for a while, and so it's just cool to. I've made a lot more connections than I expected.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the fun things with this is, you know, we've just started up our own live stream in December, and obviously, if like anybody's watched it, we're still working out a lot of kinks. You know, we don't have it like super formalized with a big intro or outro or anything like that. It's just like, okay, hey, we're live. What's up, guys? But
nothing wrong with that.
No, but it's more informal. We're still trying to be professional. But the whole point is to just kind of get to know all the folks that you interact with on Twitter, and like, you know, are always, you know, having a fun time talking with and tweeting at. But like, you know, let's actually kind of almost face to face meet each other. And gosh, move that thing because it's right in my eyes. No, it's cool, and it's especially in these last couple of years where cons just are not happening, or they're just slowly starting back up and probably going in fits here because you know, you get more COVID outbreaks going crazy and stuff. It's a nice way to kind of supplement the fact that you're not getting those networking opportunities or those chances to just meet, you know, again, all the folks that you may have worked with and never really met face to face, or, you know, all the folks that you enjoy chatting with online.
And like, it's also given me an excuse to try to reach out to people who I never would have thought I'd been able to talk to, like people who I've been fans of, that I'm just like one, I guess we have coming up in February, is one who I've been listening to their podcast for several years and reading their comics for a while. And now I was just like, on a whim, I was like, hey, do you want to happen to come on my podcast maybe? And he's like, yeah, sure. And so now I'm on there. And then like today I tweeted my big tweet. I'm wanting Mark Bernardin to come on. I don't know why I really want it, but I'm just shooting for it now, and I'm going to keep shooting for it. But it gives me an excuse to try to like talk to people, to try to reach out to those people that I'm like, oh, I don't know if I can talk to them, but it gives me a reason.
What's the worst thing that can happen, right? Someone's
exactly.
Like, you know, is someone really going to be rude and be like, nah, F you, buddy? I'm probably going to be like, you know, I've got, you know, my schedule's pretty tight right now, maybe another time.
Exactly.
Okay. Not a big deal.
Yeah.
But yeah, at least put it out there, and you never know who's going to be like, you know what? Yeah, I do want to come on.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, and it's better than me just I feel like I'm more likely to get something than if I just reach out to them as just a random person, you know, and I'm just like, hey, love your stuff. Like, I'm not gonna probably get much back unless except for a thank you.
Yeah.
But on when I'm asking them to come on a podcast and I have a chance to have a conversation, maybe, or at least be like, hey, please, like, I really want to pick your brain. So it's I don't know, it's been really fun. It's been a really good time. Just like I said, just being able to meet people, and I don't have a lot of people around me who I get to talk comics with. So that's another fun part. I get to talk comics with people and discuss things and do the book clubs have been a really big help, like just forcing me to read. So I read more comics last year just because of the book clubs than I probably did in the last year or two combined. But that's because Devin made me read the first like two or three all of Thor: God of Thunder and part of Mighty Thor. He didn't make me read it, but that's what he chose, and so I read it, and I really got into it. And then I read all of Saga of Swamp Thing. So
Oh, cool.
I've read a lot because of that, and that's been a low key benefit for me.
Yeah, that the God of Thunder run. I just actually read that I think last month, and I was like, man, this is really freaking cool. Yeah.
Yeah. It was it's something that like I'd always heard about, and I was like, oh, I could maybe read that. And at one point, like I found it on Amazon, and it was like on the whole collection was on sale for like $20 or something. I was like, oh, and I didn't end up buying it, and then it went back up, and so I was like, I lost my chance.
Yeah.
And then I had Comixology Unlimited, and he was just like, let's do this, and I was like, yeah, sure. And so I finally broke down and did it, and it's so worth it.
Yeah. I love the whole story just around Gore. Right?
Yeah.
Because he came back too, like towards the break between Jason Aaron's run on Thor and the start of Don Cates' run. There's like that brief, I think it might have been like a 5-issue run of King Thor. And essentially like looked at Thor at the very end of the universe with Loki bringing out Gore back, and it was like that was the first time I had ever read anything about that character, right? I had missed God of Thunder back then, so reading that I was like, whoa, and finally getting to go back and see like where Gore started. I'm like, man, this is really good.
Yeah, and it's like it's one of those things like I'd heard about it, like I knew what was happening, like I knew of Gore, I knew Thor lost Mjolnir, I knew all that stuff, but reading it myself was like a whole different thing. And it's just there's so many aspects of that book that I like.
Oh yeah,
Saad Ribic is great, he's amazing, but
it's I don't know, I've always really I get into Thor a lot just because like to me it's you've got this god who is seemingly perfect. Like anybody else that would look at Thor would be like, there's nothing that he could possibly do wrong. Like he's got everything. And you get into his head though, he's just riddled with self-doubt and always wondering if he's worthy of that hammer. And he's so humanized by that one little facet. And it makes him so much more of an interesting character than most others.
Yeah. It's just a whole. I don't know. I haven't honestly read a lot of Thor. It's one of those things. I haven't read a lot of Marvel characters, a lot of just characters in general. I just because like growing up, the thing that got me big into comics was the Marvel and DC encyclopedias. So I read all the articles about all those characters, so I know. But like I don't, and I read a lot of Wikipedia, but so I don't know. But like just hearing about just in that arc alone, like you can see a lot of that, just in that whole story. And then I also think think it's great when a creator gets to tell their full idea. It went from God of Thunder and it lasted all the way through Mighty Thor with Jane, and then we did King Thor and War of the Realms, all that stuff. And he got to tell everything he wanted to do, he got to do. And that's I think that's really cool.
No, it's fantastic. It's like you want to see him writing more and more, but it's like, no, that is everything I had to tell you. Like, wow. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, different. I don't know. I was thinking about this a while ago, like just now that we brought up Jason Aaron, but like just because Marvel and DC both do it, where when one writer has like a really good book, they put that writer on everything. Like DC did it with Scott Snyder after he had Batman. They gave him Justice League and Metal and Death Metal and
Yeah.
Marvel did it with Jason Aaron. He had Thor, and then he got all the Avengers, and he's doing 17,000 events. And
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't really think
Uh,
that's super great, but that's just my opinion.
no, and you know they're doing it with Kate now. Right
Yeah,
there.
exactly. He did Venom, and now he gets to do whatever.
Venom and then Thor and he's got Hulk
Mm-hmm.
and you know it's weird. You wonder like what the decision making behind that is, and if
Mm-hmm.
the, you know those larger publishers just think you know this person's in the prime production of their life. Let's make sure we get everything we can out of them.
Yeah, exactly.
Like a freaking like a professional
Mm-hmm.
athlete.
Yeah.
Like all right, gotta get them between ages of 23 and 33, and just get as much out of them as you can. Like,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I imagine in some way, like I'm not trying to like disrespect anyone. Like I imagine like Scott Snyder was always like, yeah, I do. He's always probably wanted to write Justice League. He
oh,
always
who
had
the
this
hell
idea
would
for a
turn it
metal.
down? You know.
Exactly. But like, I would personally, I'd much rather see people like that have like he had on Batman or like Jason Aaron had on Thor, where they get one character and they get to just dive into like who that character is and write it really well.
Yeah.
Like I would love that. But it is what it is. I would have
Yeah.
that thought.
Well,
I notice both companies do it. So
Yeah, and then, you know that's the business side of it too. Is
Yeah.
that
hmm
writer
sure.
or the artist gets super popular too, and everybody
sure.
just wants to gobble up anything that has their name on it. Like
Yeah.
Ram V is kind of hitting
Yeah.
into a little bit of that.
Yeah, that's true.
Tynan, like, everything that guy touches is
Yeah.
gold.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
It's funny to see like the people who get jealous of it too. But like, yeah, it's you see it from the outside and you're like you're glad. If you're a fan of those creators, you're ecstatic. Like you get
Yeah.
you're getting so much out of your favorites. But then if you're not, or if you dislike them, or if you're just kind of lukewarm on it or indifferent, what are you losing out?
Yeah.
Because that one person that you're not really that crazy about is you're getting to write so many characters that you may have otherwise wanted to read.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, that's where a smaller press comes in that's really focused on trying to not just churn out the same people all the time, but start widening out that platform and getting more and more creators out there into a marketplace and in front of readers. So,
And I mean, it is a little bit, we kind of also do have to think about the marketability side of it. Like, I can't just go in and pull Joe Schmo off Reddit who wants to write a comic.
yeah.
I have to. There's some like level of marketability involved, I think. I mean, and I don't mean that in like a rude way or anything. I just think that there's certain because it's not like we're talking with Marvel where we're like Donny Cates can sell any book or Jonathan Hickman can sell whatever he's on, but there is still some level of that has to be thought of, I think.
Yeah. That's definitely something that factors into our decision making. The biggest things that we always tell people is come to us with an intriguing story that's well written and thought out, quality artwork, meet our mission of enhancing representation, inclusion, and diversity in comics, whether that's through the people on your team, the story itself, or both. And whether you're a well-known name or not, us as a publisher, it's part of our job to be able to build that market around you. So we'll, that's part of it. But it's a tiny part, I think, for us.
Yeah.
We'll look at someone's social medias more to scrub and do some due diligence on
That's
someone.
true.
Rather
Definitely
than to be like, all right, how many followers do you have?
yeah.
You don't have this many. We can't work with you. Like,
Yeah.
it's more like let's make sure that you don't have some baggage there, or you're not presenting yourself as someone different than who you really are.
Yeah. I have to do, I
Yeah.
mean, obviously I have to do the same thing, but I mean, I didn't mean like looking at people in terms of like followers. I just meant like, in terms of what have you published before? Do you have something? Do you have proof that you can make a book and stay on schedule and make something of quality? And that kind of thing is, I guess, what I meant by marketability.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because like someone can have like the greatest idea and then have assembled a fantastic team artistically, but if they don't have the ability to hit deadlines and be a reliable creator for you as a publisher to then turn around and hit deadlines. And until you start doing these things, I don't think anybody would realize like just how much of a lead time it takes to make one comic, right? You're talking about once you actually get down to the work of making a single issue, 1 or 2 months just to make that issue, and how much time before that is getting the script in order and getting things organized and planning out where to go to the printer and how much lead time is the printer going to need in order for you to get the books from the printer to a distributor or to yourself, and like 6 months is a pretty quick turnaround on something like all that.
That's kind of been my issue. Is I tend to think of like, oh yeah, I can just I'll just get the book from this. I'll ask somebody if they have a book. They'll say yes. They'll already have it done. I'll just get it. I'll print it. Whatever. I got it. It's no big deal. But then I start to actually think about it. I'm like, oh no, that's going to take a while. Like I said, I do that, and so I have a project that I'm working on for 2024, a bit of a magazine anthology that I had someone in mind that I was going to ask to help me manage it and curate it and edit it. And then I was like, I can wait. I'll ask them like in, a while. And then I asked them like this past week and they were like, yeah, no, like, I'm glad you asked. Like, we need time to work on this. And I was like, probably right. Good thing I'm talking to you because you know what you're doing. I'm glad I asked you. But yeah, so it's just, I still am bad about that. And so that's why Valkyrion's I'm embarrassed to say how far behind it is. But I mean, it's going to still come out on schedule, and it's a little bit easier because I'm doing the whole thing. But, it's just, I don't know. It's something I have to stop myself from doing.
Yeah. That's one of those things where I live and die with a long-term calendar. I need to absolutely have something that just goes an entire full year and let me start plotting things out.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I was talking about earlier, like just planning and stuff for myself. Like Google Sheets has become a lifesaver for me, just having spreadsheets.
Yeah.
Because for the podcast, like I can mark, okay, this is when this person's coming out. This is when I'm recording it. This is what we're going to talk about. And I can organize it all. I can say, this one's out. And I can do the same thing with my comic schedule. I can organize everything. And like spreadsheets have saved my life this past year. I've learned to love it so much.
Yeah. And again, it goes to the other side of making comics. It's not just having a script and art. It's a lot of project management.
Yeah.
And then people might not really understand that. And even when you're self-publishing and doing it, it may not strike you that what you're doing is project management. And the more you can learn about, not necessarily like hard methodologies and stuff like that, because then you start to get into like all the Silicon Valley people with their heads up their ass because they think that they're the greatest thing in the world because they, do whatever. But like having, look into some basic like project management software tools or just read some project management theory. Yeah. And that really helps to get your head around the types of planning and administrative tasks you would need to do in order to make the production side of it go a little bit smoother, and to maybe like not hate the whole process so much because you've kind of prepared a little bit better for those tedious things that we were talking about earlier.
Yeah. I mean, it's like for two things, I guess. Podcasts like have been so helpful. Like there's a podcast about everything. Yeah. If you need to learn about something, there's a podcast for it. It might not be the best resource, but there's something that will help you in some way. Yeah. And so, I've listened to podcasts about, the publishing business part of it. I've listened to them about the comics part, but yeah, those are a big help. But then you were talking about project management. I mean, and you're kind of getting into it now. I think you're kind of getting into the first stages of it from what I gather, but it's anthologies are a whole other beast of project management. Like it's a whole, like managing one comic is it's a task. It's not the most difficult thing, but it's a task. But then an anthology is just ridiculous. It's just insane.
Well, and that's the thing too. Like I'll always say that Chris and I have very complementary skill sets, right?
Mhm.
He's very much the artist out of the two of us. He's the more tech savvy guy out of the two of
Mhm.
us. You know, he runs the website. He's able to handle like all those more complicated things. I'm like, what? Um, but you know, I've got the background and education that gives more of the administrative and business side to it.
Mhm.
That you know, the kinds of things that creative people hate doing. Like, it's not like it floats my boat, but
Yeah.
I don't stress out over it because I just know a little bit better. And
Mhm.
you know, the bookkeeping, the project management side, like, cool, I can do
Mhm.
that, and we'll split those,
Yeah.
you know, those
That's.
responsibilities. And it blows me away when someone's able to do all those things by
Mhm.
themselves, because like
Yeah.
it's just there's so much that goes
Mhm.
into it.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, that's one thing, like with moving to like the quarterly plan, like we are
yeah.
starting this year, like it, I'm starting to like the administrative side of it more. Maybe it's just because like right now, lately, I don't know, like the writing bug hasn't bit me. Like I want to write, but like the stories, I don't know what to write about. And so it's either working on Valkyrian or it's doing administrative stuff for the book and, or for just for foreign press. And I've learned to like that a lot more. And so like it also means that, like I can't publish as much myself because we're quarterly, so I have four things a
Hmm.
year, four big things, and so I'm like, well, I can't do as much, so it gives me time to focus on other things. And I found I really like it.
Yeah.
I really like managing things, and I mean, hopefully, maybe we can move up later, but for now, I'm really learning to enjoy that part and being able to be behind the scenes. It's less stress in a way
Hmm.
for
I mean,
now.
it allows you to kind of work out a lot of different parts of
Hmm.
it without being overwhelmed. And
Yeah.
if something goes wrong on one of those that either sets it behind or derails it, like, it's only one thing that's going to get messed with. You know, it's not like one thing gets messed with this month and it screws me up for the next three projects over the
Hmm.
next 3 months.
Yeah.
It's all right. This had a bump. I can either, I've got the time where I can either kind of regroup and salvage this, or maybe, you know, the hell with it. We'll scrap it and get back to it another time and focus on the next project.
Yeah. It's just been, like you said, it's just a lot less overwhelming to be
Yeah.
able to sit there and be like, okay, I have this thing done and I can throw this off onto the next person.
Hmm.
Not like I'm just like I want to get rid of it, but I'm like, okay, I did my part, now
Yeah.
it's them, and so
Yeah.
I like having, it's a lot less pressure for me, and it's
Yeah.
a lot less it's like you said, it's just a lot more, not as overwhelming, and so
Hmm.
that's a big help.
Yeah. That's why we capped what we're doing for this year at 10 titles. And
Mhm.
then we threw on the anthology. So,
Yeah.
technically we got 11, but really we're like, all right, we got 10 solid stories. And, as we're going through our selections, and we realized that, like, you know, running off doing a one shot or standalone story, it's like 10 times less complicated than trying to do a series where
Mhm.
you've got to just not get one pulled off, but figure out what your
Yeah.
production and your publishing schedule is going to be for that. Like, either are you going to be able to do it every month, where you're sticking with like an every other month schedule for our series, partly because the creators, you know, typically aren't full-time comics
Yeah.
creators. Everybody, a lot of folks in this industry, they get to make, they make comics after they've done their day job and they've
Mhm.
done what they need to do to pay their bills. So to try to sit there and expect, them to turn around a new issue every single month, it's just unrealistic.
Mhm. I mean, yeah, I forgot what I was going to say. Never mind. Go ahead.
So, yeah, setting those goals and trying to figure out
Mhm.
what it is that you can manage over a year. There's a trick to it, and I'm not gonna lie. I look at our schedule and I'm like, I'm very confident we're gonna be able to pull that off
Yeah.
and not have any severe hiccups. But there's always a nervousness,
Mhm.
right? Like, because you can pick apart, like, all right, I can see where, like, if one thing gets derailed on this
Yeah.
project, it's gonna have these cascading effects on
Mhm.
everything else. So,
Yeah. And that's like a couple of the, I think, advantages of kind of what we've done. Not that it's like a perfect model. I'm not saying like, you have to do this. This is going to work for you. But like it's quarterly. It's not like on a certain month. So I can just,
mhm.
as long as this comes out in summer of
Yeah,
2022, I'm going to be happy.
yeah,
And that, and then I'm honestly too scared to jump into a realm of any kind of ongoing series. Like everything I've done is a one shot or an anthology or something, because I don't know if I'm at a point where I can manage an ongoing, or just, financially, as far as crowdfunding goes, or just myself manage it. Like I haven't gotten close to that yet. And I'm looking for it later this year to start, looking for books to do that with. But it's just, that's a whole thing that I don't know, that I'm not ready for. So
Yeah. I don't know how many people are still watching, but we're at an hour in. Don't know if anybody has questions. You can always feel free to throw them into the chat. I probably should have mentioned that earlier instead of just assuming everybody knew, like, hey, there's a chat. You
They
can ask
should know.
questions. But, yeah, there's that. We've got, don't forget to check out the different links between Foreign Press Comics, Comics Unscripted. And I'm going to throw up our own Band of Bards websites up there. And if you don't mind, I do have something to plug.
Go for it.
So, if anybody is a super keen observer of the weather, we got a pretty nasty snowstorm overnight on Sunday into Monday. And still on Wednesday, when I went to the west side of Buffalo to pick up some shirts, the roads were still pretty bad, and I was having a hard time even in my truck. So that was interesting. And city like ours that deals with snow every year somehow just got caught with the pants down. Yeah, not too good. Not too good there by the supposed leadership of the city. But point being, we have been using Threadless. I'm gonna be super tacky and throw up the Threadless link.
Go for it.
But Threadless is cool because it's on demand and it allows you to just pretty much design some logos or whatever.
Yeah,
and throw it on a whole bunch of different products.
That's what I've been trying to. I've been like weighing between like Threadless and like Redbubble and TeePublic. I've been trying to figure out which one I want to go with.
So they're cool, and Threadless also has some features in there where you can just select different like nonprofits and advocacy groups to donate to automatically through every purchase.
Yeah,
so
I saw
we've
that
done,
on your page.
Yeah, we've done that with all of our different designs. We've picked a different group. I think our main Band of Bards logo donates a little bit out of every purchase to ACLU. We've got others that support groups like the Trevor Project, Trans Lifeline, Stop AA, IP Hate, AAPI, sorry. So that's cool. But you also don't like get a whole ton back from them. And sometimes some of their products are a little bit more pricey. So we finally did buy some shirts from a local t-shirt printer, Positive Approach, which they don't have Twitter, but I know they have their Facebook. Anybody familiar in the Buffalo area with the company 26 Shirts, which is pretty cool. They started off as a company that basically sold t-shirts to help raise money for people in need. Like a lot of times, like kids going through some sort of like cancer treatment or lots of stuff like that. And it's really blossomed and blown up, but it's a company that kind of we really appreciate as, being the comics company that's all about comics doing good. That's in line with us and our values. So reached out to them to ask who they make their shirts from, and that was a Positive Approach. Super rambling, long story. So anyway, yeah, finally got that. So we got the regular Band of Bards logo.
Dig it.
And we did. If anybody is unfamiliar, it's Asshole Nerds Fuck Off.
Yep.
That's our own little take on Nazi punks fuck off, because we are.
I've never heard that one.
No, it's Dead Kennedy's song.
Oh.
Yeah. So Chris and I, being the geriatric punks that we are, we're like, we're watching all the different certain hate group stuff flying around, and we're just like, man, these assholes need to fuck off. And we're like, we could do that. So Chris did a great job designing both of those. But yeah, so we finally got some just printed off to have on hand here.
Yeah.
They'll be up on the Band of Bards website soon. We're gonna retail those for $20.
Nice.
So something a little bit more manageable than what you got on Threadless and stuff. So it's exciting.
Oh yeah. Like I said, I really want to jump into it, but there's so much going on with so many different places, and it's just everyone has its advantages, and I'm just like, and I'm too scared to buy a bunch of stuff and have to move it. If I move, I have to ship it wherever I go, because like I'm not like settled down yet anywhere, so I'm just like, I'm gonna move in like 9 months. I gotta like figure out what to do with a bunch of shirts and comics, and so kind of trying to keep that to a minimum for now. Yeah,
for sure. Like if you're still in that spot in life where like you don't know if you're staying long term in the spot that you're at or not, like you gotta travel light. Yeah. I've moved cross country enough times, and like no, I need to be able to just put everything in my car and go.
Yeah, I'm not there yet. I have like furniture and stuff, but like it's just I can't. I don't need anything extra. I already have too much, so I just can't add more to it.
All right. I think that's about all I really had written down or solidly planned out to ask.
Yeah.
I don't know. Let's again, not a whole lot of questions coming in the chat, so
I'm not that interesting. It's all right.
It's okay. I'm not either, and I had a super busy week myself this week and didn't get enough promotion out on this. But like I said, we tend to have more people going back and watching the recording.
Yeah, which that's good.
Because I mean, it's Friday night. Who the hell wants to come watch us? It's what fits into my schedule.
Yeah. So I mean, I noticed the same thing like with the podcast. Like I'll tweet about it like several times the day of, and then I look online. There's like 2 listens, and I'm like, yeah. But then I come back in a week and there's like 27.
Yeah.
Cool. We're good.
It's like anything else comics related, right? You've got to be able to do what you can when you can. So, a lot of times that means you're not doing things in a very ideal way. But, if you wait around to do things in an ideal fashion, they never get done. Yep,
for sure.
So, but that's where we're at. I think that's where a lot of folks in comics are at.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's just it comes with the territory. It's I mean, I don't know if that's a good thing, but it is what it is, and that's what you got. It's not even just a comics thing. It's just anyone who wants to start their own endeavor, creative or just any business, whatever. You have to. You're gonna have to put your time into it. You're gonna have to invest your money into it. You just have to. It's the only way to do it.
Yeah, I mean, unless
most of us,
right? Unless you're just born into wealth, or you inherit dad's company.
Yeah.
If you inherit dad's emerald mine, you can start a whole lot of companies in a different country.
And then act like you did it all. And then, or no, even worse, buy companies that are already started and then act like you worked on them and you made them what they are, even though you didn't. And then sell things like flamethrowers and act like it's the best thing ever.
Oh, look what I did.
And then pump insane coins on the internet and I don't know.
Complain about people wanting handouts while taking nothing but government subsidies to get yourself started.
Yeah, and then complaining about your workers not working, and then while you're off doing whatever. I don't know why I'm this heated about it. Like it's been the last couple months where I've done on certain podcasts I watch. They're like they'll dog on them, and I'm just like now I hate him just as much as anyone else.
Oh, I mean, like part of it is right. A guy who will remain nameless for legal reasons. Could have really done like some amazingly good things with all those resources and basically being right church, wrong pew, right? Having the right general idea, basically because he likes sci-fi novels and lifted a bunch of like good ideas out of sci-fi novels and thought like, I got the money, this is a good idea. Now I just have to find someone who's really smart and actually has skills and give them the money to do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's why I think the rocket company is doing well, right? Because that's just so advanced that a goofball with a bunch of money can't actually get really deeply involved enough to mess up, because then people die.
Yeah.
But when you decide that you're just going to dig a bunch of tunnels and tell people it's going to alleviate traffic,
Hmm. And then,
that's
then
yeah, that's not like a dumb thing
yeah,
engineer wise, but it's not rocket science, right?
yeah, exactly.
It's a level where
It's
like
literally not rocket science.
some guy who thinks he's really smart can still get in there and
Mhm.
meddle enough to F it
Yeah,
up.
yeah. I don't, like I said, I don't know. He just really rubbed me the wrong way just the past, I don't know, little bit. I don't know why. It just really been. I'm heated now. So
Well, like the nice thing though is that stuff like that, and then you get into all the freaking fanboys that will just,
yeah,
you get the Simpsons meme where Apu's diving in front of the other guy to take
yeah,
a bullet, right? That feeds a lot of interesting pop culture spins on them, and like that's
hmm
partly what fueled Prospects by Max Mazurek
yeah,
and Gene Franco. One of the things he kind of takes a little bit of fun at in a satirical way with Prospects is like that toxic stan culture, because you've got the town of Ridgeville with a couple of bad scientists that no one has ever met that basically have the money and they sound really smart, so they impress a lot of people who aren't themselves very bright,
hmm
and so everybody just loves them and worships them and walks around with shirts on them and has like holidays to celebrate them, and they never met them. They don't really know who they really are like.
yeah,
So at least he who names nameless, and others like him
hmm
give us some source material for comics.
yeah, definitely.
Hi Desi, I see you in the chat.
I don't see the chat, so
You don't see the chat?
No, I don't.
What the hell?
I don't know. I mean, I guess I could see it if I logged into stream on my phone again.
Oh, I thought
But
that you
no,
actually.
I
Hey,
see
Desi.
our private chat on the side of
Oh, yeah?
StreamYard, but that's
You
just
don't
for
see
me
the
and you.
public comments?
Nope, I just see the band of bards. Maybe I'm doing something wrong.
I don't know.
It doesn't matter, I guess. It's been this long and I haven't seen anything. So if anyone was watching and I didn't comment on something that you said, I'm sorry.
No, I tried to show him up there. Um,
Uh-huh.
Desi laughed when we were talking.
Okay.
Oh, Desi's
There we go.
super-
I see it.
Yeah,
Again. Yeah, cool.
that's okay. Better late than never. Right?
Exactly.
Like the Titanic and Ghostbusters too.
Never seen it.
What?
I've seen
Oh, man.
Ghostbusters like once in my life, and it was
Oh
like
my gosh.
5 years ago, 4 years ago. Yeah, I know.
Well,
I know.
wait, I am a little bit older than you, so I guess that's.
I mean, yeah, but it's like a classic, so I don't really have an excuse.
Man,
I feel like.
Ghostbusters 2, they're showing like the ghost Titanic rolling into New York Harbor and all the ghosts getting out. And you got Cheech from Cheech and Chong is like
Yeah.
the harbor master, and he's like, well, better late than never.
No, my dad loves them. It's the weirdest thing. My dad thinks for the most part Cheech and Chong is hilarious, even though he's like this very like for the most part pretty conservative Christian dude. But I don't know. He's always he makes those jokes like for my entire life. He's been making the jokes
Yeah.
from Cheech and Chong, and I'm just like, okay, Dad, you do you. I appreciate it, but like, all right.
Yeah, Cheech and Chong made a few really, really good movies, and then the rest of them are like, I've seen these jokes already.
Yeah, I've never seen any of their full movies. I've just seen bits online and stuff like that, and
Those are
I've
good.
heard bits from their albums.
Yeah.
but I've never watched Up in Smoke or anything.
See,
I
Up
need
in Smoke's
to.
probably like the most well known and probably the best one, and
Yeah.
it's just ridiculous. And there's a lot of like really great pop culture references that come out of it. Gosh, there's another one where really it's just like a gigantic acid dream of theirs, where they're like off into Amsterdam doing like a tour or something, and it's just like more of like a series of skits tied together than an actual coherent movie.
Yeah, I feel like that's a lot of movies done by stand-ups and stuff for just people who have an act. I feel like Monty Python. That's one where it feels just like a bunch of
Yeah.
skits. Which
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not hating on it. I like Holy Grail just as much as anybody else, but it feels like a lot of skits put together. But
Yeah, and those all kind of came out fairly close to each other, right? In the same kind of general time frame,
Yeah.
where it's almost like that was a genre of movie. and you don't really get a whole lot of movies like that anymore,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Same thing as like how you had all the different spoof movies for a while,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
all the
that's what I
different
was thinking
Wayans
of.
movies for a while. And it
Mhm.
came and went, and you don't really get that.
Yeah.
And really, all you get these days from movies is fortunate for us, a lot of superhero movies.
Yeah.
But
Well, I was thinking the other day, like it's kind of ironic the movie, one of those spoof movies, it was called Superhero Movie.
oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's ironic that it came out like in 2009 or whatever. When like I feel like it's almost more applicable now because superheroes are so much more
yeah,
like you know around than they were then. I don't know. I just noticed I was like, damn, this movie was like really early in a
yeah,
way. But
yeah, yeah. It
yeah,
didn't.
we're spoiled now in terms of content. So
That's okay. We need something. Like,
exactly, yeah, I need a win.
you know, it, it's funny. My the chief at my fire company, he's big comic book. Well, not so much comic book nerd, but he loves all the superhero movies. His son does too. So we'll talk about it here and there. And laughing, like, just like, it's no secret why these movies have done so well, because like people just need something to that
Hmm.
absolute escapism.
Yeah.
Like no one wants to see a realistic movie anymore. We
Hmm.
just want something absolutely ridiculous and something that's just so blatantly fantasy and fiction, because we
Hmm.
can't handle real life for like
Hmm.
the last 15 years.
I mean, I feel like we either want like absurdity, like in a good way. Like we want Avengers type things,
Hmm.
or we want like A24 super personal things. We either want one of the extreme or the other. Like we want,
Right.
because those movies usually do pretty good too. And so like I don't know, I feel like we don't want like your typical rom-coms or drama things. We want either super big blockbuster Fast and Furious goes to space, or we want
Mm.
just a story
See,
about depression.
and I could really go for something like in the vein of Frigate Paris. I'd really enjoy something like that again.
Yeah.
But we don't really get that, do we?
Yep.
Mm.
I don't know.
And
It doesn't sell, I guess.
no, I mean Deadpool's probably the closest thing to a rom com these days.
That and like all the weird Netflix movies that pop up all the
Yeah,
time. So,
yeah.
but I don't delve into those. So,
So,
yeah.
mm. Oliver and Company. Why does that sound familiar?
That's the movie with the cat where it's basically Oliver Twist, but it's a cat and a pack of dogs, and there's a girl. I watched it like a
Yeah.
couple months ago. I don't know why, but yeah, Cheech is in that. He plays one of the little dogs. He's also in Cars. He's
Yeah,
the low rider in Cars.
that's right. Which is pretty fitting.
Yeah, I know it fits.
Yeah. I mean
I always thought Chong was the other. There's a hippie van, a Volkswagen, and I always thought it was Chong, but it's not Chong.
mm,
It would have made sense, but anyway,
I th-
that's my trivia for the day.
Tommy Chong might have been in jail at that time.
Yeah,
I
probably.
think he did get caught for something eventually, but he was
Yeah,
like
he
older.
did.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I love him. He's hilarious.
Yeah. That's,
In that 70, I love him in that 70 show.
well, oh god, he was great in that. And
I need to rewatch
it
that
cracks me up that like Chong, or our Cheech, will play a freaking cop these days.
show. Hmm.
Isn't he in one of those cop shows?
He might be.
Oh
I
god,
don't know.
I can't stand like cop, lawyer, doctor, any kind of first responder shows. It's just like no, this is so
Too
bad.
like unrealistic. You're too exposed that you're just like I can't. It's
That's
not.
part of it, right? But they're also like the same and generic, and it's like,
Yeah.
I can remember like watching the Commish when I was a younger kid, and something like that seemed cool.
I think
But
it's like one of those things that's for like older people, because like
probably,
or for, just people who like, I want the same thing every day. I
yeah,
want to know that I can go home on Mondays nights at 7 and get my Blue Bloods. And I know what's going to happen in every episode and I don't have to think about it. That's
yeah,
pretty much my grandpa. He's like, I don't want to have to watch
yeah.
a thinky show. He's just like, he goes
I
there and he
want,
knows what's going to happen. That's
I
it.
want the formulaic show.
Exactly.
I need my Matlock
Yeah, exactly.
and
That's what
oh
it was.
gosh, Columbo.
Yeah, Perry Mason.
Oh
Yeah,
man,
my grandma watched all those.
see,
Used to.
I would I would enjoy some Green Acres as a kid. All those kinds of like Nick at Night things. But um, I do still love MASH. I think that's probably
Yeah.
the best TV show that's ever been made.
MASH is. I mean, I was watching the just speaking of Perry Mason, like old shows. I was watching the reboot on HBO, and I mean, I'm only on like the second episode, and it's good. It's really long, but I don't know. I was just thinking, I was like, I feel like it could work a show like that is a pretty
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe like the old like an older formulaic kind of detective show, but like
Hmm.
maybe more higher budget maybe
Yeah.
to make it more prestige. I don't know. I feel like that would work though.
Yeah.
I just
There's
want more detective stuff.
gosh, there was one show, Power of the Crowd or something like that. Um,
Eye in the Sky.
the
I think I know. Not Person of Interest, right?
No, it lasted for like all of one season because Jeremy Piven was like the main star of it,
Yeah, I know.
and he got caught up for basically being a dirtbag,
Yeah.
and some kind of
Is
nasty
anyone
sexual
surprised?
stuff. But that kind of deep sixed that show.
Wisdom of the
Pretty quick.
Crowd.
It wasn't the crowd. Yeah, that was like a rare, somewhat quasi cop show that was like, okay, I can kind of get into this.
Mhm.
But yeah,
Yeah, every year there's like I'll see one like some trailer online. I'm like, okay, it looks kind of cool,
yeah,
and like I don't ever watch it,
yeah.
and then it ends
I'm
up
the
getting
same.
canceled.
Yeah, like I kind of want to watch that show Ghosts, and then I always forget to watch it
Yeah.
because I don't know. I
Yeah.
guess I've never been very good at sticking with TV shows. I need to like wait for them to. Not
Yeah.
that I like to binge, but I need it to stream so I can just watch it when I
Yeah.
think of it.
Well, that's what I noticed. Like when I first watched Always Sunny, like I binged like the first like 12 seasons or whatever on Netflix when it was on Netflix, and then I tried to watch the next season like as it came out, and it just wasn't doing it for me. But then I went and watched them again later, where they when the whole season came out, I just binged the whole season.
Yeah.
I like it. Some shows I think I like that way. I prefer
Yeah.
my comedies. I think I don't know.
Yeah. Looks like there might be an issue with the Twitch stream for
Uh-oh.
anybody who's watching on that.
I saw that. Oops.
Yeah. Chris was saying when to go in it. I don't know. We got a couple like intermittent errors coming through about the Twitch hookup.
Oh.
Yeah. I don't know.
Last live 20 seconds ago.
Well, Twitch can go to hell for that. I don't know what that's supposed to be. We get some weird comments from things. Yeah. That might be then a good exit point.
Yeah, I guess so.
If Twitch is already saying, man, you guys are really freaking boring. We don't want
Yeah, you guys need to get off.
But that is the benefit though of it still going through on the Twitter feed. So
True.
anybody watching there should still benefit. But it looks like we've lost all viewers from the live stream.
Well, shoot.
Yeah. Not enough hair follicles in this episode.
Exactly. Yeah,
I
we're
think
just
that's
between
what it
us.
is.
It's just not enough.
No.
I tried with the beard to maybe even it out, but it just still wasn't enough.
I gave myself a fresh cut today, but
Yep.
it's like
Last
0
night.
degrees here, so I've had to wear a hat all day.
Oh yeah, no, like I'll be wearing a hat into like school, even when it wasn't that cold, and my kids will be like, "Why are you wearing a hat, Mr. Merrill? Why are you wearing a hat in the building?" I was like, "I forgot to take it off," and they're like, "Why? Why are you wearing it? It's not that cold." And I'm like, "You have hair. Like you don't understand.
You
Like it's
don't
a whole
really
thing."
understand how much heat is being
Exactly.
lost.
That little bit of hair just it holds so much in.
Yeah,
I need my beanie.
yeah, that's for sure. All right, well, anything last minute that you'd like to plug again?
No, just follow us on Twitter, Instagram,
Yeah.
subscribe to our email list. I'm subscribed to the podcast. I'm definitely going to give out a promo code on the one of the two. I'm not sure which, but something that's going to be exclusive to there. So if you hear that episode or read that
Nice.
email newsletter, you'll get that. So I try to offer stuff like that, just like something exclusive to people who watch certain things to be like, hey, if you really want to follow, like just pepper random stuff in so that way they get a little benefit out of it. But
Yeah. So if you want to follow along on Twitter, F Press Comics.
F Press, because Foreign Press Comics was too long.
Yeah, at F Press Comics. Kyler, what's your personal handle?
At Kylar Merrell, KYLARMERRELL.
Oh, all right.
Yep, got my name. Not a very common one, so.
Cool. Appreciate you making the time and coming on tonight.
Appreciate you having me on, man.
Always a blast.
Yeah. Anytime.
Gonna offer last second questions or comments from the live stream because it looks like some have trickled back in.
Back.
Yeah, that's okay.
Oh well. We'll live next time.
Yeah. Get at us on Twitter if you want to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, is that Bob Ross? That's a Bob Ross.
Yeah, it is.
Fuck yes. I got Bob Ross behind me.
Where?
He's over on the shelf.
Oh, dude, I love that. Is that a
Yeah.
chair? Or is that a blanket?
Oh, that's a blanket.
Oh, I just noticed that.
Over my recliner.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Oh, a little bit of.
Sorry, I didn't notice what you were wanting me to notice. I got distracted by the blanket. I was like, ooh, that's cool.
Yeah.
I want it.
That is one of the Threadless items, which I won't lie, it's not like cheap, but that blanket is nice.
You didn't have a mug.
There
I'm gonna
are
complain.
some. Yeah, well.
But there wasn't a Band of Bards mug. I think it was one of the Anfo mugs. Asshole
Was
nerds. I think
Oh,
so.
I know. There's something goofy with the way it prints on those mugs.
Oh.
That to put the regular Bob logo on there, it like just had a big. The mug itself wasn't going to be all black, so it was going to be a white mug with like a
With
black
your little-
square, and it looked like crap.
Yeah,
So-
no, I get that.
Yeah, that was kind of weird.
Like I went on there and I was like, oh, they got a mug. I'll 100% buy it. And then you didn't have a mug. I was like, well, fuck.
There's travel mugs and stuff like that. I should probably
There
actually
are?
go in there and take another look around at stuff because they updated a lot. Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of crazy stuff there. Like there's throw pillows, there's duvet covers. It's crazy.
Yeah, there's so much.
Yeah. I don't know.
Standard.
Let's see.
Yeah, now we're just perusing your store. Yeah, no, I see what you're talking about. It's just
Yeah.
a black rectangle.
Mm-hmm.
Which that'd be, I mean, yeah. And I mean, you have the other, all the other three are in mugs. I guess I was wrong. Just the one I wanted wasn't in a mug.
Mm.
Or
Yeah.
in a regular mug.
Maybe you'll like have to see about finding some like travel mugs that would be easier to send and something that wouldn't break in the mail. God,
See,
now
it
you
won't give
got
me a
me.
360 shot.
Yeah, now you got me looking at this stuff. I'm like, why?
Sorry.
Yeah, rugs, tapestries, bath mats. There's so many weird things.
Stretched canvases.
Yeah.
If anybody's watching, like, there you go. Face masks.
Yeah. They're
Greeting
not bad.
cards. Come on,
had-
guys, get on this.
I got one of the face masks for myself, and then my grandson used it, and it never came back from my stepdaughter's house.
Oof.
Yeah, which is fine.
Yeah, I mean, you'll live.
Yeah, I'm not hurting. But yeah, there's some neat things. But like I said, like some of the pricing on there, it's like honestly the shirts, not crazy prices.
No,
But
yeah, I was looking
some-
in there. It's not.
Yeah, and they got pretty often. There's sales for cheap T-shirts off of their website and stuff, but you get into some of the other like home goods and stuff like that. And honestly, like I got one of the throw pillows.
There you go.
Check it out. The zipper kind of sucks.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's no good.
So I don't know if I just got a bad one
Hopefully, yeah.
or what, but I don't want to encourage anybody to buy one of these in the because the zippers suck. But
Can you just take it off?
the printing's nice though.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. But no, that blanket's fantastic though. I love it. It's nice and soft. It keeps me warm.
There you go.
Yeah. Look at that. I actually promoted something for a change.
There you go. I got you.
Yeah. I always feel like it's cold douche promoting these things, and it's like, wait, we're supposed to.
Yeah, exactly. I'm the same way. I'm just like, I mean, please buy my stuff.
Yeah.
But then I need to be out there, and I need to be Stan Lee, and be out here just like selling,
Oh.
marketing myself like crazy. But I'm just,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just not in me.
I think that's an eternal struggle for a lot of us in comics, is that we like to make the stuff, and we all feel like complete, dupas trying to like promote it, and we feel like we're just being annoying and stuff. But
Yep.
like, you gotta go out there and do it.
Yep. I mean,
Yeah.
like I said, Stan Lee did it. I mean, like, say what you want about like the dude may have done the other stuff that wasn't super great, but I mean, he was good at that.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean,
Yeah.
he marketed the hell out of himself. But yeah, it's baseball.
I know, no shit. I sent Chris GIF of yogurt selling things the other night. I'm like, this is me now. merchandising. Yeah, that's me now, which is okay because I'm about that tall.
Yeah.
So,
Oh man.
but on that incredibly depressing note, we'll end the broadcast.
All right. Go and watch out.
Okay. Good night, everybody.
Yep. Good night.